Bum, 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 bum. Ooh. Only 4 people with 9 points now.
See, it's really just... We're getting a defined line.
Yes.
No ties. Nothing crazy. Just a very solid week of 30 players.
Yeah, so Bauer, Boyer, Lyle, and Bloom
9 points.
all sitting at those 9 points. And then we've got our players at the 6 points. A couple of people that lost to those guys. A couple of people that had lost early and now starting to climb their way up. So a nice variety of players. Interesting thing to note, though. Jeremy Miller.
Yeah.
Is only at 3 points right now. Derek Southers only at 3 points right now. So for those, Jeremy Miller, season 1 champion. He is in the top 8, I believe, right now, or close to it, of season 2. Derek is the current ranked number 1 player for season 2, but he's only got 3 points, and he's only 1 point ahead of Eric, and Eric's at 9.
Yeah.
So he's already claimed back to first place right now. But there's 2 rounds left. It could be that Eric doesn't win any more points, and Derek wins 2 more rounds.
True.
So a lot could happen in these last 2 rounds. So let's jump into round number 4 for you guys. See, I know you all like the Merfolk, but we've got a nice little break from the Merfolk to have a mirror matchup.
Hey! Mirror matchup. Grixis Delver. Let's reset this timer.
Versus Grixis Delver. Charles Boyer versus Chris Bauer. And it's cool to see this deck in action. The Delver deck, or at least, the Grixis deck is starting to do a little bit better. Everyone was really big about, ooh, sweet, Nahiri, Emrakul, played the blue-white-red stuff. But Grixis has its advantages, too.
It does. And after talking with both Chris and Charles, what they did was they found the... Look at that, Chris setting up the camera, making sure that the salt cam is right on him.
Also, Charles is blending into the background.
He is, just like our table judge, who has disappeared.
He's in the wall.
He's in the wall. No, he was feeling under the weather.
Players.
Yep, talking to the players, and they both were looking at Kevin Jones's list that he played at least a month back, I think, on the SCG Open, with a few changes to the sideboard, but I believe the main board is pretty much the same.
Yeah, that seems about right.
So get those votes in, guys. Straw poll is out there, and let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Do you think Grixis Delver?
Is it going to be
Delver?
really? Is it going to be Charles or is it going to be Chris?
Yeah, that's really what you got to look at. Now, another thing is, Chris is 10th place, so he's right below the top 8 right now, and Charles is at 14th, so he's still very close as well. So this could be a determining factor too for these players, who can get closer to making it into the top 8.
Will you quit distracting them?
I was trying to... Well, I wanted to make sure the cameras were set up right. Then,
sure.
Then I just like talking because I'm such a social person that I go out of my way to talk to everybody.
Oh, 3 for Charles. A lot higher for Chris. Cutting decks, drawing cards. Let's see what we got.
It's like Chris is not happy with that.
Can I vote for Silvergill? So, heart and head pick. Who do you got? You can't even pick it based on the deck.
Grixis Delver.
It is personally on the players themselves, and I bet you they're both watching.
My head pick.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, so many Pokemon.
Dude.
Sorry, I got distracted.
Not the time.
Alright. Actually, they made an announcement at SCG Baltimore that specifically said, hey, don't play Pokemon Go while you are playing Magic, guys.
Here's an island. Here's the Delver of Secrets. Now, and Charles is going to go to 18 off that Steam Vents and just go ahead and get that guy out of here. So, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So the other thing is, I think Chris had been playing the Delver list longer.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Charles just switched over to it. Because he was running, I think, the more control style before going for the Delver list. I could be wrong on that.
No, you're right. He was playing his form of Grixis control.
Okay. So, like, in that regard, I guess the head pick is saying Chris because he has a little more experience with it lately.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just kind of my head pick, I guess. And Charles is one of the players that has come out for Season 2. Wasn't really playing in Season 1.
No. Season 2 was definitely where Charles has started. I think actually he probably came in once
For Season 1?
for Season 1.
Yeah, I'd say at least once.
But this is, Chris giving us the eyes. What's going on? Dude?
Hey.
That's that smoldering look. Charles in chat saying, basically, the Grixis Delver list has much better matchups against aggro decks than the control deck does.
Okay, makes sense.
And he still gets to play some of his favorite cards, I assume. Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
Mana
good
Leaks.
Tassiger gets to get played.
Oh,
Terminates,
Trick
like
Bind
that.
off a Thought Scour. Chris,
Oh,
no.
Trick Bind's the best. I'm going to play Trick Bind in my new deck that I'm brewing up. Actually, I'm also going to play Shadow of Doubt. Shadow of Doubt in the main, Trick Bind in the board.
Sure. Place the land, passes the turn.
Okay. Thoughts on lands in front versus lands in the back?
Here's a Delver. I'm not too convinced that it's a problem one way or the other, but I personally play lands in back, creatures in front. I don't like to slog through my lands to get to my opponent's
Makes sense.
life total. I've played enough Dungeons and Dragons to know about being encumbered by walking in rough terrain.
Okay, so we saw Vendetta and Click come down, and because Gower had 2 bolts, he was like, no problem, I'll kill it.
Yeah. It's fine.
There's 2 Mana Leaks in hand, and a Terminate, so he says, goodbye, Delver. And
Here's
he
a
says,
Spell Snare.
Now that could cause a Mana Leak to get used, but it's like,
Does he
he'd
want
rather
to fight
save
over it?
them?
Yeah. Snapcaster.
And I'll just kill it with a bolt.
Yep.
Untap. Draw for turn. Scalding Tarn comes down and passes on over.
2 people very comfortable with this matchup,
Yes.
with the cards that they're playing. Just
They do like this Grixis style.
here is my own
Delver of Secrets.
Delver of Secrets. But just
Also, fun fact, guys, if you're using those little player card things that you can check off what the card is, you have to still have the 4 cards. You can't just say, oh, look, here's my slip. Say I have 4 Delvers and only have 1 Delver in your deck box.
nice.
No, you still have to have the 4 with you if you're playing in a tournament. Or you'll get in trouble for it. Because then you really only have 1 Delver. Just a little fun fact.
And here's my own Snapcaster.
Cast this, and I'll mana leak that.
Electrolyze. Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, the Electrolyze play would have been awesome there. Decides.
Got a bolt in hand. Muscles, take it easy, dude. Thanks for coming out, hanging out.
Getting to watch some Murpho. looks like we'll throw that bolt down on Delver, which is the better play here because if he ends up flipping, he becomes a 3/2 flyer.
Oh, absolutely.
And looks like the snap trades.
And,
Gurmong Angler.
The
So
zombie
says,
fish.
Okay, what stuff don't I care about? Creatures, don't care about those, don't care about lands. And he's debating on paying more mana for the Gurmong Angler or getting rid of more cards. And looks like, wants to make sure he at least keeps a Terminate in
Smart.
his graveyard. And says, here's a Delver, too. And Chris just kind of nodded his head. Yeah, that's a nice play. And here's my Tasigur.
Yo, Battle of the Delves.
Other thing to think about, though, that Tasigur is a 4/5, while Gurmong Angler is a 5/5.
Yeah.
So it says, goodbye, get you out of here. Crash from the Gurmong Angler, and Bauer says, I will activate Tasigur. Can I have a lightning bolt, please? Ooh, a trick bind. I forgot that was in the graveyard.
Draw for turn.
Crashing with Tasigur. So,
Dropping
11 to 9.
Yep. Passes the turn back. Reveals.
Terminate on your Gurmong Angler.
Here's a Serum Vision. Draw a card, scry 2. Tasker activation. Charles says, yeah, you can have that Tasker back.
Downside of it being legendary.
Yep. And combat. You can take 4 more.
Alright. Things are rough with Chris being at 6. Because that means one swing with a Delver and a Lightning Bolt or Snapcaster here wins it. This also sets it up that Chris has to answer that Delver now. So here's the activation.
Got a Snapcaster.
Checks through his cards. Says, you know what? I'll go to 2.
Well, this is the point where he says, well, if you had the Lightning Bolt, you would have already cast it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm okay with being at 2. Untap. Draw. Sweet Island.
Crash.
There's not much I can do there.
Now you will be at 3. I mean, I guess you just go for the Tasigur activation here and hope that you can get something decent back.
There's a Lightning Bolt.
Okay, Dreadbore, Terminate, Lightning Bolt. Basically, a bunch of stuff that can kill off that. So he says, okay. And the Spell Snare comes down and he goes,
yep.
Well, I've used all that mana to do that, so yeah, you got it. Super close. Game 1. But Charles comes out on top.
I'm going to teach them how to reset the iPad next time.
Well,
you know.
It was more fun watching them go.
I guess. Their hands just move so quickly.
Yeah.
So Charles taking the first game against Chris, and we've got sideboards.
We do.
We do. Which I'm not gonna even put them up yet. I'm gonna let you tell me which one you want to read.
Bowers, because he was running Trick Mine, so maybe he's got another in his board.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, we've got 1 Engineered Explosive, 1 Crumble of Dust, 2 Negate, 1 Vandal Blast, 4 Young Pyromancer, 1 Kolgan's Command, 2 Magma Spray, 1 Vampiric Link, 1 Dispel, and 1 Fulminator Mage. So he's got a bunch of stuff that is useful here. But,
Yeah.
so some of the things that we could see him opt to go for, I like the Kolgan's Command coming in here.
Okay.
He's not going to be killing off artifacts and things like that, but 2 damage is quite relevant against a lot of Charles' creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Kills off Snapcaster, kills off Delver, kills off Click, making him discard a card is relevant. Returning a creature from your graveyard is relevant, so I like that coming in. I also like the Magma Sprays.
Okay.
That's the 2 damage in exile.
Mm-hmm.
Vampiric Link is basically just give a creature lifelink. That's an enchantment for a black. Negates, dispels, they're all solid cards that he can be bringing in. Engineered is alright, but it's also, because it's complete mirror, it would be blowing up your stuff potentially. And really it would only be hitting those snaps, those delvers, where the stuff that you want to kill off, like the Gurmag Anglers and Taskers, it's not going to really hit. So that's not really what you need to worry about. Fulminator is not really useful. The Vandal Blast isn't useful. Neither is the Crumble. Young Pyromancer is another option, but again, because there's other stuff that are more important, I think I would bring those in over the Young Pyromancer. So what about Charles' side of things?
So the only difference that Charles has, 4 Ancestral Vision and 2 Counter Squall.
So the visions are instead of the Pyromancers?
I think Chris's list was a complete mirror from what Kevin Jones was running.
Okay.
Charles decided to kind of change things up. I think maybe he's more of a control player, so he feels more at home. Maybe trying, the 2 Counter Squalls, obviously, and being able to play an Ancestral Vision and draw a couple cards is not too bad either.
Yeah.
So we're already off to the races.
And, Delver coming out already. So that turn 1 Delver is nice.
Here's a blind flip. It's coming.
Nope. Dead Delver.
Dead Delver.
Fetch up this basic mountain. $19 all. Get this Blood Crypt. Again, these 3-color decks, you want to try to get access to all 3 colors as quickly as possible. Looks like we have a Terminate in Bauer's hand. And a Spell Snare. Looks like some mana leaks over on Boyer's. And that Serum comes down. Draw, scry 2.
So Charles in chat actually saying it's actually the vice versa.
Oh, okay.
So his list was closer to Kevin's than Chris's was because Chris didn't have the Ancestral Vision.
That makes sense. So he opted for the Young Pyromancers instead.
The way Chris and Charles are moving, I just need some like funk music in the background. Like they are just grooving.
Oh, you're playing... Are you playing against Keenan right now in the background?
Yes. I'm real sad too. Real sad about it.
Alright, Serum comes down for Bauer here. Gonna draw and then scry 2 there. You'll notice, like, at this point, neither player is really trying to throw down too much stuff. They're just sort of like, alright, I'm gonna set things up for the next coming turns to see what I can let happen.
2 Tassikers.
And yeah, again, another Serum. Of course, Charles making the smart play of playing the serum before he plays his land. Because in case you draw a land that you'd rather play, that's why you'll do that. And most of the time people are not going to do counter magic over the serums. They're going to save that counter spells for something more important. And, he did bring in the Young Pyromancers. So now every time Chris plays an instant or sorcery, he will get a 1/1 elemental.
Gonna go to 16.
Fetch and shocks. I mean, this does seem like something worth fighting over.
Yeah, the thing that I think about with a Delver list
Mana Leak, Spell Snare,
is it can get out of hand very quickly because you are playing a lot of cheap cost spells. So when a Young Pyromancer sticks, it can stem the tide and even turn it in your favor a lot more quickly.
And then with that little counter battle, we got to see a Tasker come down.
Yep.
But was immediately terminated, so that's not going to be so much of an impact here. But the Young Pyromancer will be. So 2 coming across. Boom, boom. Looks like we'll see a crack of that polluted delta as well. Dropping Charles to 13. Let's see if he remembers the dice or the life pad.
My favorite thing about this new setup, guys, is because I run the straw polls and we don't have a second monitor showing up chat, he can't see all the things that you're writing about him.
Oh no.
So he's gonna have to watch it later to see.
Charles forgot to knock himself to 13 off that fetch. 2 more are going to come across, though. So it'll be 11, unless we see like a Terminate get used here, which is possible. Looks like he will opt for it, and we'll see some fights over it.
Mana
Leak.
Yep, here's a Mana Leak.
Trigger. For sure, I'm going to get at least a 1/1 elemental. And he'll say, yeah, okay, I'll crack this. Yay! Life is correct.
We just didn't give him enough time. Anarchy!
That's what it was. I mean, that's the other thing is they have their pads and papers and they're writing everything down. So when they're like, all right, fetch, and they'll write it down, doesn't mean necessarily that it's... I like
I see.
Here's my cat, that's an elemental.
I was really confused. I was like, that's the wrong elemental, Judge.
All right, he says, yeah, that's fine. Alright, Chris will fetch as well, dropping down to 17. It's like another Tasker is going to come down. And that's another thing that we get to see in these sort of battles is, okay, what can I throw out here to force you to start to counter stuff so I can use my counter magic to know that you're going to be tapped down so the coast is clear for me to play Tasker.
Sure.
Two blue. Snapcaster. Can I terminate your Tasker, please? No, you may not.
Why not? Just pass it back.
Mm-hmm. Crash. Let's trade.
Here's a Thought Scour.
1, 2, draw.
Terminate, and then a Creeping Tar Pit's going to be the land play.
Which is nice. Man land becomes a 3/2 unblockable. And just a pass. Let's activate and swing in. Let me bolt that.
Lightning Bolt.
Let me do another Thought Scour then. 2 lands go in. Another land gets played.
Chris going to 16 off that Scalding Tarn.
I mean, this is the thing with this type of matchup is there's a lot of trying to control the board state and not letting your opponent stick anything like meaningful. So that's why they're fighting over the young pyromancers. They're trading off their snapcasters for the elemental tokens and doing things like that.
Here's the Delver of Secrets for Charles. Another land.
Wow.
Chris just flooding out. Trigger.
Nope.
No flips. And terminate it anyway. Let's spell snare that.
And that's fine.
Crashing in for 1.
Ooh. Alright. 12 to 13 now. And a Tasker is going to come down. I'm going to get rid of this.
Just got a whole graveyard full of cards to get rid of. And that's why I like Tassiger, especially in a Grixis shell. When he came out, everyone jumped on it.
Yes.
Because there's just so many ways to fill your graveyard up to cast that Tassiger for the 1 black.
Young Pyromancer.
Sure.
And I think Chris is with no cards in hand, too.
Let's activate Tassiger.
Alright.
Oh, Colligan's Command hit the graveyard.
That's scary. And looks like enter scoop phase. So Charles takes it 2-0. So very nice play coming out here. Again, like a big part of that match revolved around Charles having control of the board state. And we would see the players constantly fighting over keeping creatures on the board. Here, I'm going to terminate this, I'm going to lightning bolt that, and do this and that.
There's so much removal in the Grixis shell.
There is. But it's like, it's a mirror matchup. I know there's some people that like love mirror matchups, and there's some people that just hate mirror matchups. Just like playing them. They don't like that. I don't know. But
I think it depends on what the mirror matchup is. You know? An Affinity mirror matchup does not sound fun to me.
No, I don't want to. No,
not even a little bit.
Not even a little. But again, it like TJ's talked about it. It rewards the player that understands and has the most experience.
True.
For that matchup.
True.
Other matchup might be different, but like that was still pretty exciting to see. Charles does take it though, so he moves himself to 12 points.
There you go.
So
climbing up for season 2.
Climbing up, and he's ranked 14th right now, but with 12 points, he's getting himself even closer to getting into the top 8. And okay, cool. I love the mirror if you actually try to interact with your opponent.
I mean, when you're actually doing something, I guess that's the type of magic you want.
Yeah. Well, not everybody. But all right, so let's check our points because we've been cruising through tonight.
Oh yeah.
It's been